meetings recently held with the Ministry of Romi, in specific the new works, to discuss the status of the progress of capital investment projects which were or are being worked on. The Prince William Alexander School, the demolition of the old property, as well as the having the first phase constructed, has the priority of government, and we are in the it is going through the system, as they may say, has already passed my desk and will be going through the system, has to go to the Council of Ministers, etc., for approval and onwards so that that process can be started. Also, we have in education, which was already in progress but had been stagnated, the finalization of the 4 classrooms at the St. Martin Vocational School. We are finally seeing some headway with that and hope that that will be able to be finalized before the start of the school year. So that has restarted, thankfully. Many have also noted that the tender for repairs at the Milton Peters College has been publicized, and so we are monitoring that to make sure that goes online. And where it concerns sports facilities, we have the finalization of the interior of the Little League ballpark, which is basically the dugouts and the interior part of the bleacher building, as well as some other repairs, etc., from the first phase that had been taking place need to be finalized. And as such, I expect that this also will be finalized in due time.
The approval from the EU, from the committee, the European Union Committee, the Commission, that the tender documents for the Dutch Quarter sewage project has been, they have been approved, and now the project can go on public bid. We have had, not too long ago, a successful town hall meeting in Dutch Quarter to continue to inform the residents there. We have told them back then that, it's been some time that this project has been in discussion, but it's the first time that we have actually gotten to this point where we can guarantee that the project will be carried out. So the tender documents have been prepared and they have now been approved by the EU Commission, and that means now that the project can go on public bid. Because it's a EU-funded project, it will be opened also for contractors throughout the region that is associated to the EU, but also to the EU member states. It would be unusual, let's say, because of the nature and the scope of work that, let's say, a contractor from Paris or from the Netherlands would sign in. But you may be well aware that the contractor that won, the company that won the bid to prepare the tender documents is a company, Ilaco, that is established in Suriname. Years ago, they had a branch in the Netherlands, Antilles, and in St. Martin. But that's the company that actually won that bid. But we feel quite confident that not too many, if any, companies from abroad, because of the scope of the work and the kind of work that it is. But we are happy that we have reached this stage of the project again. It's another milestone. But because of it being an EU project funded by the European Union and the processes that they follow, we think that the estimated time for us to sign a contract with a contractor to actually execute the work would be in the first week of December. Around the 5th of December is now the target that the project will be signed off on, and that the Dutch Quarter community can see the start of the project that they have been long awaiting.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas really easy. Island Finance. For education, yes. A renovation, that's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
Life is a journey full of connections. You're in safe hands, even when life starts too soon. You don't have to miss a single beat. When a bad hair day makes you sad, just sharing can bring you joy and more to come. They take the plunge, turn fear into faith, while you capture those beautiful moments. In the game of life, it's family that counts. They'll be there even when you lose. We all have our moments of reflection and hope. And when you feel you're losing everything in life, we're there because there's more to come. When life starts too soon, you don't have to miss a single beat. We're here to connect you and share life. Telcel, when you want.
Albert Einstein, a celebrated 20th century scientist, identified a common denominator between the arts and science when he said, "The most beautiful experience we can have is of the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science." His preference was for the arts, when he stated, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world." In our time, it is surely with imagination and knowledge that humanity around the globe is pressing breathlessly into the 21st century world of scientific marvels. But at the same time, what are we to make of the dogmatic rearing of not just a general anti-intellectualism, but also a rapidly rising trumped-up charges clamoring against science itself? From countries devastated by the most advanced generations of weapons to nations that are yet at the very cutting edge of modern science, the it. As St. Martin, a nation, as a Caribbean people, we must vary of this and flatly reject any dogma or any bullying political correctness that, for that matter, which denies science and its disciplines, as much as any separation of science and the arts. We should also be wary of a science that is only full of itself and without compassion, without any moral compass in its vision and designs for humanity, for our earth, its rich variety of life forms and life forces, for the planet itself, thus the universe in which it is a humble tenant.
As a representative of one of the institutions that host the annual book fair, I've been asked to say a few words to you. And I will actually invite you to entertain two provocations tonight and the rest of the days that you are participating in the book fair. And the provocations are actually provocations from the radical strand of anthropology. I'm an anthropologist by training, that holds in the discipline. Provocation 1. There is no such thing as science. There are only several sciences that have different kinds of relations with each other. So what exactly is science for the radical form of anthropology? Science is actually an ideology of Western imperialism that was used to legitimate the subjugation of peoples of the earth and other forms of knowledge making. That is what science is. So what we actually should be embarking on is understanding and representing various kinds of sciences and various forms of knowledge. It's provocation 1. Provocation number 2, because oftentimes science is pit against religion. There is no such thing as religion. What there are different kinds of religious cosmologies, of which Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism are variants. And these various forms of cosmologies, they are there to help us understand ourselves and better manage ourselves in our interaction with others and the rest of the world. So what is religion? Religion, again, is another form of that Western imperial legitimacy ideology that actually was used to subjugate many people. So whenever you have science with a capital S and religion with a capital R, you know that its counterparts will always be superstition, myth, stupidity, etc. So I would actually like you to entertain these two provocations and to understand the human as the radical strand of anthropology does. The human is simply he or she who from time to time asks the question, who am I and what is this? And the human is that creature that uses his or her imagination to actually create objects, text, music, songs, which are actually answers to those questions that they pose as they try to live life.
So several projects have been scheduled and will be ongoing during the coming months. And of course, as a ministry, we look forward to these being executed in the timeline as has been provided. So I will continue to update the general public as to, many will see whether it's tender being publicized and the works being awarded, etc., in the months to come. And so we will continue to update on these as they come forward. Also being worked out are the solar panels for the schools and IT in the classrooms. So we will continue to update you on some of the projects which we feel are necessary to be able to meet the needs of our society, especially in this area. The situation in terms of the emergency repairs at public schools, we were able to finally deal with the situation of the gravels at the M. Genevieve de Weaver School, which had become chaotic, creating a situation where there was a daily complaint about violence on the playgrounds. That has been rectified. There is now a basketball court, a paved basketball court, where the gravels used to be, as had been initially intended. And so we're very happy with that, as well as some revamped areas for play, as well as beautification of the area will be finalized, hopefully in the coming weeks with plants, etc. So I look forward to, when that is finalized, to be able to show the general public that we are actually putting our money where our mouth is in resolving some of the issues that have been brought forward and with urgency. We recently also were able to finalize some of the cleanup at some schools which had been neglected due to the change of the district cleaning situation. And so together with the Ministry of Romi, we are also addressing these areas. We do apologize, of course, for the time that it took, but we are dealing with each problem as it comes, one tree at a time in a forest of challenges.
oh my, what an inventory list, and so unnecessary. But wait, your home contents are all insured by Be Sure. That means that you determine the amount you want to insure. No inventory list, no hassle.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Bob, I can understand why you're parking so carefully. Of course, when you can get 80% discount on your Be Sure car insurance. But that's overdoing it, Bob.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah!
Here we go. This is freedom, this is life. Happiness is all I'm seeking. Carpe diem, I'm seizing every day, not just the weekend. Here's to all the good times that have come to last. Here's to living in the now.
When you can afford what you crave, life just gets so
So
good.
alive and I'm feeling good, so good, so good, so good. Hey, I'm gonna live my life, feeling good, so good, real good, so
KFC, so good for everyone.
I just returned from a quick trip to Curacao, and in my trip, I met with the Sector Health Department from the Ministry of Health, Environment, and Nature. There's a photo there of the group that we've met with, but it includes the Director of Sector Health, Dr. Alcala, and epidemiologists and researchers and communication officer. And so the purpose for going was that we all in the Caribbean have a problem in terms of managing our healthcare costs, and in particular how we're fighting mosquitoes and mosquito-borne illnesses. And Curacao has done, I think, an excellent job in terms of producing a lot of materials. There's a video that they have on YouTube, which I think is very effective. And they've produced a number of these brochures, for example. They've already translated them into different languages: Spanish, Papiamento, and of course Dutch and English. And so seeing all the materials that they've presented, I felt that it was worthwhile to make a visit there and discuss how we could cooperate. And it was an excellent meeting, and basically what we've asked is, can we not coordinate on the development and use of the products? And actually their reaction was very positive. Their reaction was, our ministry, our sector is very good at producing materials, but actually what we have a problem with is marketing. How do we get the materials out? And I said, well, this is your lucky day. I happen to have quite a bit of experience in marketing. And so we had a very interesting discussion about, they produce brochures, but they don't really know how to get it out into the community. And so we had a very good conversation about, website development and sort of delivering this material digitally versus by paper, social media campaigns, the possibility of doing sort of photo competitions, for example, where you take pictures of areas where are mosquito breeding grounds, send them in by Facebook, and you have an opportunity to win a prize, for example. Radio competitions where they ask information that's been printed in the brochures. And so they were very excited about different concepts as to how they could get the message out, because they're very good at crafting the message, but they struggle, as we do, to get that message listened to and by the people. Another option, for example, is using smartphones, working together. They have Digicel and UTS there, cooperating with them to have them delivering links to the websites, for example. And one thing I found particularly impressive, and something that I wish we could improve in St. Martin, is that they have a hotline where people are reporting in when they have different issues. But their experience is that the follow-up has been excellent, because their different departments, the public health and public works, for example, coordinate very well. So here I've seen it a lot, where people are calling about health issues that in reality are issues that relate to other ministries, and sometimes the follow-up, I think, gets lost in translation. And so I said, you guys are doing such a great job with that. You ought to take these comments and then show that they've been resolved, post them on Facebook. And so they were very excited about many of the things that we talked about. And so we are working on a formal cooperation agreement between the ministries in terms of developing material. So we will produce a few videos and share them with them. We'll also coordinate actually with other countries in the Caribbean, for example, Spanish-speaking countries, where they will fund just the translation. Again, in a time when everyone has limited resources and tight finances, I think cooperation makes all the sense in the world. The other meeting I had was with Minister Victorina. He's the Minister of Health, Environment, and Nature. I've actually known the minister for many years in a different capacity. And really my main objective for meeting with him was to understand what lessons have been learned from their construction of the new hospital in Curaçao. Again, I'm a person that believes that if you're spending the people's money wisely, I think that you should make an effort to learn the lessons from others. You know, what did they do well and what did they do wrong, so that we can try and learn from their lessons, good and bad. And one of the things that was very clear was that much of their cost overruns were actually in the planning stages, let's say, versus the construction stages. So the structure in which the actual development or project, how it was set up, really has given government very little grip in terms of transparency and in terms of being able to request information and getting the depth of information that they would like. And so one of the key recommendations was to make sure that in our process of building a new SMMC in St. Martin, that we ensure that there's transparency and accountability built into the agreement. He said, unfortunately, in Curaçao, too much of it was left to, let's say, trust and goodwill. And I think that with the change in government, people's postures may have changed, for example, and so that sometimes they have a hard time accessing information.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Update on school busing. Several have been asking about that as well, including information requested by Parliament. We did, as ministers, Minister TEZVT, Arundel, and myself, receive a joint report from our departments who have been working together since we have established that committee. We have a draft joint policy, service level agreement, as well as an advice, which after discussion, the next step in the process is that the committee will meet now with the school bus owners, operators, to inform them of the proposed way forward, get their input, etc., where hopefully we'll be able to, we have both short-term and long-term solutions. I would not want to divulge those in the public before the school bus operators get the opportunity, but just that the public is informed that this, the promise that we would be working together as ministries to resolve this issue has not fallen on deaf ears, that we are actively and proactively working to resolve this issue in the interest of all concerned. And so therefore, as soon as we achieve the meetings that are necessary with the school bus operators, etc., we'll be able to proceed further with signing of a service level agreement, hopefully with the operators for the short term, and moving on with the other regulations that we would like to implement moving forward, and preparing then for next year's tendering of it as it should be for such a large uitgave. for such a large amount that is paid out from government's coffers as is required by the accountability laws. So we are willing, of course, to, in the short term, find solutions, but in the end, we must, in a reasonable and accountable way, account for how the monies of government is spent. And so therefore, I'm hoping with this update that many are, put at ease that this is in no way an effort to put anyone out of business or such, but that we have to be realistic and use the funds of government in a most responsible manner.